Okay, so the background of that name, or how we came up with the name Ready to Lead Africa, is because daily young people across the continent are told that they are not ready to lead. That, especially in Nigeria, I cannot categorically say of other countries yet, but um, I can also say about Liberia and some other countries, because young people are constantly told that they cannot lead their countries. And if you find out the people who are currently managing the African state were young people when they were struggling for independence, and they got the opportunity to lead the emerging African countries. But today, they are constantly reminding young people that we are not ready to lead. So when that question became uh, too much of a strategy to weaken the morale and enthusiasm of young people, it became important that we run an organization that answers that question even before it is asked. So, Ready to Lead Africa is a direct response from young people across the continent that we are ready to lead the continent, because the people who took over the leadership of this continent when we were going through the end of colonialism were young people. People who fought for independence were young people. So, Ready to Lead Africa is primarily saying to every African that you are ready to lead as long as you put your heart and your mind to it, no matter whether you're young, you know, as an African, you're ready to lead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is really very important to point out now. For example, when you look at the life of first man that moved the motion for independence, Tony Nahoro, he was actually a youth at the time that they moved the motion for independence. So if we are looking at actually the vigor, the people who at the time stood up for the independence of the Nigerian state, even if you are looking at and when saw Ikan and the rest of them, they were youth, they were young people, they were really having the hot blood in there to organize the people. Otherwise, it would be, if we were really running the country like this old man doing it, it would be difficult for us to even get independence, as it were. So I really quite agree with you. Now, tell me, what is the agenda of the Ready to Lead Africa? Is that when you're talking of taking the matter of leadership, I know it's not going to be a very simple in that situation, because power intoxicates those in position of authority, so they are not ready to give up the fight anytime soon. So, what is the agenda for Ready to Lead Africa?
The agenda is to first and foremost put it in the heart of every African that ours is to plow and not to plunder the continent. We have been dealt a hard blow by some people who are today called leaders of Africa, but all they have done is to plunder the continent. So the first agenda is to set it in the heart of every African, both the women, the men, people living with disability, and everyone represented as young people in Africa, that ours is to plow and not to plunder. Because when you read Ngigi Watiogo's poem that talks about the green fruit heel of Africa, and how the fact that ours must be to plow the continent and not plunder it, that sets the tone for everything we're doing. So when we then move from the very soft side of our agenda, which is the hard part of our agenda, the part where we commit ourselves to something bigger than us, we then go to the tangible ones that we can then place our hands on, or maybe look at using data tomorrow. And that is to increase the number of young elected people across the continent of Africa. So if we have people who are running for office in Kenya, in Zimbabwe, in Cameroon, in Togo, in Guinea, in Liberia, in Algeria, in South Africa, Ready to Lead Africa is saying to those young people that we are here to support you. So one of the things we did in 2020 was to go to Ghana to see how we could support the youth candidates during the presidential and parliamentary elections. Though we were still small, we were able to identify only John Dumelo, who was just 35, no, 36 at that time, and he was running for parliament. And we try to galvanize and talk to young people to say, look, if he's representing these demographics, we just think that we should have more young people lining behind them. And we just want to do our work as also election observers and people who are clamoring for more participation and inclusion of young people. So we want to increase the number of young people who are in elected office across the continent. We want to take over the leadership of our continent so that we can bring about innovation. One thing about young people is that we have ambition and we are restless. And if we approach government with that mindset, we're going to create changes that the older generation may not be willing to attempt. So you see what the agenda is. Put it in the heart of every young African that we are to plow the continent and not to plunder it, and then increase the number of young people elected in office, increase our leadership capacity, and also deepen democracy, and also finally use technology to solve social problems. And one other thing I think we must understand is the issue of constitutional democracy. Because once we understand constitutional democracy, the laws of the land will be respected and the people would have stronger institutions. That is the only time Africans can truly, consolidate on the gains of democracy and, move forward.